It's time to get controversial. Well, it's only going to be controversial if you're the kind of person who thinks empathy is optional. To put it more bluntly, it's only controversial if you're an asshole. Because we need to talk about immigration. Not just the headlines, the fear mongering, or the talking points we hear, but the history behind it. This country was built by immigrants. They were welcomed by some, exploited by many, and resented by those who came just one boat earlier. From Ellis Island to Angel Island, immigrants shaped every part of America's story. And that's not a metaphor, it's a fact. There was a time when crossing the border for work wasn't controversial. Some of the most prosperous periods in US history came during times of open immigration. In the 1880s alone, we saw over 5 million people arrive here. And for much of that era, immigration was shockingly easy. No visa lottery, no green card backlog, no English test or an Ivy League employer. You showed up, you got inspected, and you stayed. It wasn't perfect, and it was still horribly racist, but compared to now, it was a breeze, and it helped fuel the industrial boom in this country. In California, Chinese and Mexican labor built the railroads that connected the coasts. In New York, German, Irish, and Italian immigrants filled the factories and formed the backbone of labor unions. In Chicago, Eastern European immigrants transformed the stockyards into an economic engine. And in South Dakota, Nebraska, and Kansas, Scandinavian immigrants turned the plains into farmland. More people meant more growth. Period. Irish, German, Italian, Chinese, Jewish, Mexican, Eastern European, and so many more transformed America and its culture. But somewhere along the way, the welcome mat turned into a locked gate. And when we do cut off immigration, the results are ugly. The Immigration Act of 1924 slammed the door shut on most of the world, particularly in Asia, and severely restricted immigration from Southern and Eastern Europe. Sounds kind of familiar. Now that led to labor shortages, stagnation in urban growth, and the US turning away refugees fleeing fascism, including Jews escaping the Nazis. In contrast, between 1942 and 1964, the Bracero Program brought over 4.5 million Mexican laborers to work in the US, legally. They worked in agriculture, they helped build railroads, and kept the economy running during World War II. But when that program ended, we didn't stop needing workers, we just stopped giving them a way in. The same crossings that were once encouraged became criminalized. And even with that, today, about 90% of migrants enter the US through official appointments with Border Patrol. The vast majority aren't rushing the gates. They're waiting in line. Most don't have criminal records. Out of the 1.5 million migrants that have been apprehended at the border entering this country, only about 15,000 had any kind of criminal record. And most of those were for illegally crossing a border, which in the US is just a misdemeanor. That's it, not a felony. Legally, it's in the same category as trespassing or speeding tickets. But we treat it like terrorism. What's more than 80% of migrants in this country show up to their court dates, and the ones who don't overwhelmingly miss them because they were never even notified or poorly notified. And after those court hearings, they might be stuck in the system for over 25 years before their application is even processed. That's not broken. That's sabotage. And now, even the people doing everything the right way are being punished by a system that is not designed to help them in the first place, but target them. So when people say, come here the right way, they don't understand. These people are. They're following every rule in a system designed to trap them. Now, this is where it gets personal for me, because my mother is an immigrant from Guatemala. Now, she's a citizen now, but when I was born, she wasn't. So when I hear people talk about how immigrants are doing it the wrong way, it's not just wrong, it's insulting. To my family, to our nation's history, and to what this country claims to stand for. So if your criticism and lack of empathy only comes from this place of, well, I was born here, maybe it's time to reflect on just how lucky that makes you, not how righteous. Because most of the people screaming, get in line, have no idea what that line even looks like. Historically, it's the same story every time. Every generation finds new people to scapegoat, even though it's immigrants who continue to rebuild the American dream. And when nations cut off immigration, they suffer. Look at Japan during its isolationist period, or the decline of Spain's empire, or modern day Russia hemorrhaging talent. When you shut the doors, you shrink. Whether you like it or not, immigrants built this country, and they're still building it. Farming our food, caring for our kids, serving in our military, and starting businesses. They're paying taxes into a system that often excludes them from its benefits. They're doing what generations of immigrants before them did. The only difference is that today, this administration and its policies is so broken that it punishes people for trying. This isn't a flood, it's not an invasion, it's a question of humanity, and it's how America was built.